YouTube crypto influencers have been sued for $1 billion in the latest FTX lawsuit that was filed on March 15th. CoffeeZilla put out a video explaining the lawsuit with guest appearance by one of the defendants in the lawsuit, meet Kevin, and YouTube legend, Legal Eagle. I've made a few videos covering SBF's criminal charges, which of course that's related to FTX, but none over the civil lawsuits that came out after the collapse of FTX. Well, I'm here today to change that, along with our friendly neighborhood con man, Matt Cox, whose channel I've been a guest on several times. So let's take a look at the allegations that are made in the lawsuit and what the chances are that they'll, stick. Now, I go over a lot in my conversation with Matt, but there's one crucial element of the lawsuit that I forgot to mention. Stick around until the end of this video to find out what that is. Or you can just fast forward. But actually, it'll make a lot more sense if you watch the whole video beforehand. All right. Let's get started.
As soon as it happened, right, as soon as the lawsuit came out, I immediately got like 5 people telling me, you've got to do a video on this. And I'm like, listen, I did a video on this. And in that video, I said, I think these guys are going to get, one, I said they might get indicted. And then I said, but I think they'll probably definitely be sued over this. And that was, so then, of course, when it happened, I was like, well, I'm not shocked. And I kind of already mentioned it, but everybody was saying, you've got to do a video about this. You've got to do a video about this. But I kind of just assumed they would get sued. Whether it goes anywhere or not, I don't know. But
well,
what are your thoughts?
Isn't the reason that I'm here to tell you at least my opinion about where it's going to go?
Absolutely. My opinion doesn't mean anything.
So I'm curious to know at what point in this interview do I tell you what's going to happen with this lawsuit? Because I actually already know.
Really?
I kind of want to hold out a little bit.
I mean, let's talk about it. What's going on?
Okay, so first of all, do you know that the named plaintiffs in this case are the same as an almost identical lawsuit against Tom Brady?
No.
Okay, so Tom Brady did some ads for FTX.
Yes.
So this lawsuit has 4 counts. They've sued him under a Florida Securities and Investor Protection Act statute, which is kind of the main thrust of the case. And then kind of a catch-all is the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act statute, which is similar to a law that exists in every state. And then civil conspiracy, which sounds like a crime with the word conspiracy in it, but it's not. It just means people acting together to do something that's illegal and not criminally illegal, but civilly illegal, such as, Hawk, FTX investments that are losers. And then the 4th count is for declaratory judgment, which isn't really asking for money. It's asking for the court to declare that some of the things that the people who have been sued, what they did was wrong. So 4 counts. Not that complicated, but it is a 73-page lawsuit.
So what is the bulk of it is just probably showing different statements that these guys have made about FTX?
See, if you did that, you would be a good lawyer. That's not what this lawsuit has.
Really?
Yeah. You would think that they would have gone into the time machine, and because the videos, a lot of them have been taken down, right? A lot of these people have repudiated what they said for money. So good on them for doing that. But no, it's surprisingly bereft of actual factual content about the 10, I shouldn't say 10 people, 9 people and 1 creative agency, the Creators Agency LLC. So 9 influencers and 1 company that probably works with them, I guess.
Do you know what that agency does? Do they get?
I think they're a matchmaker, product and spokesperson.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know if you watched the CoffeeZilla video on this very topic,
yes,
but
I did.
I think if this lawsuit was against you because you had recommended this, he doesn't make his video. I think he makes his video because these are not just regular YouTubers, whatever that category might be. These guys give financial advice, and FTX was, a place where you could get financial instruments.
Right. It's not like, they're actually, people go to Graham Stephan because he's saying, hey, I'm giving financial education, even though probably when he puts up his YouTube, he probably clicks entertainment. but he promotes himself as someone who is financially savvy and his advice is sound. Like, I hate this too. I hate it when people come out and say, look, I'm not an attorney or I'm not a financial advisor, but like people, it's like that completely, that completely allows them to go forward and give financial advice. It's like saying, don't be offended, but I think you're an ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I don't mean anything by this, but I hate your gut.
Right. Yeah. Don't take this personally. Well, but I do take that part. Like that doesn't absolve you of having insulted me just now. So I feel like it doesn't absolve you by you saying, look, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but if I was you, you should do this. Did you meet Kevin's response? Like, I'm not responsible, but
embedded in Coffee's video?
Yes.
Yes. I saw his interview with Kevin. I'm not at fault, but I'm going to give my money back.
Yeah. And here, I love that too. Like, I'm going to give it to a charity. I'm going to wait. And I'm going to, it's kind of the Logan Paul, spin, right? Like,
oh,
I mean, I get, like, to me, I'm just not going to say anything because look, if I'm wrong, I'm going to say I'm wrong. And their attorneys are saying, don't say anything.
Yes.
Because, you may be wrong. Like, I'm sure, like, to me, the right response is just to go out and just say, look, I messed up. I made a mistake. But then, of course, you open yourself up to a massive amount of liability.
Or do you? We should ask a lawyer.
Do you? You apologize? You say, look, I messed up. I should have really made it more clear. Yeah, I definitely feel like that opens you up.
Yeah, so I watched Coffee's video, and this is my first exposure to Kevin. He seems so likable.
He is.
Like, he's talking, and I'm like, wow, I like this guy. I like his personality. I like the way that he talks. And then at the end of it, I'm like, okay, he said it's not his fault, but he's going to put his money into a fund, but he's not going to do that until after all the dust settles.
Yeah, until the lawsuit settles, because I may need this money.
Yeah, I may be paying this to my lawyer.
It does feel like they're holding themselves out as financial experts and trying to say, I'm not responsible for anything I'm telling you right now. And it's not like they're just saying, hey, by the way, this video is sponsored by FTX and it's a crypto company, and then basically saying, here's the thing about FTX and going through it. They actually seem like they're pushing it.
Yeah. And I think that's why Coffee had that kind of visceral reaction, which is that something has to change. He wishes that they were liable because they claim to be financial experts. That's kind of the vibe I got from it. Not that he thinks that they are. I mean, you don't have Legal on your channel who tells you this lawsuit is deeply flawed in some material ways, and then you say, well, I still think that the plaintiffs are going to win, right? You know that you're not a financial expert. Hey, guess what? These guys, they also know they're not financial experts. They actually do. They don't have the certifications, unless there are a couple of them that do, but like the what I've seen, they don't. Moreover, the lawsuit doesn't allege that they do. The lawsuit doesn't allege these people are financial experts and that makes them reliable. Oh my word. The lawsuit just says they're famous YouTubers.
So it's just a poorly written.
No, they did the best they could with the facts that they have. This lawsuit and the Tom Brady lawsuit and so many lawsuits like this are about one thing, which is the degradation of traditional authority structures in society. So like 100 years ago, you had like the church, the government, your employer, the family, and people live in those contexts. Well, there's too many scandals with all of those things. Too many families are broken. There aren't traditional authority structures. People don't trust the government. People don't trust the church. People change employers all the time. People change families all the time. There isn't a way for people to like confidently believe that they are in the spot in their life where they should be, where they want to be, and they have people to rely on. So they go on YouTube and they listen to people they've never even met. They listen to people whose qualifications are either unknown, unmade, unasserted, and not verifiable. But you know what? They're so nice to listen to.
I was going to say, but people like them.
Yes.
They trust them.
Yes. So there's no longer a belief in institutional authority, but instead there's people with great personalities, and there's hot people who come on your TV and tell you what to do.
Listen, people ask me advice all the time, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, my first set of advice is don't ask some guy who went to federal prison for bank fraud and got out about how to invest money. I have people that ask me about different companies and about advice for stocks, and I'm like, look, I don't know anything about the stock market. So you think it's going to be? You're thinking that the lawsuit's going to be thrown out?
There is a procedural mechanism where when you serve a lawsuit, the responding party has 21 days to answer or file a motion to dismiss. And when you answer, you typically say, you know, there's 10 paragraphs and you admit, deny this one, admit this one, deny this one, admit this one, whatever.
Right.
And then you can raise affirmative defenses like, you know, all this is true, but he didn't lose money, or like whatever your affirmative defenses are. Or you can file a motion to dismiss saying, even if everything in the lawsuit were true, I still wouldn't have to pay because this doesn't actually state a claim. And that's where we're at on this one, because you have to prove that you relied on the statements of each defendant on their own. You have to get there for each one. You can't just put them all in a basket and say, well, here's all the influencers that I relied on in this basket, Judge. Let's enter a judgment against all of them. This is dumb. It's like straight up dumb. It only works if you are like a conspiracy theorist and you think all these influencers got together and they're like, hey guys, FTX is a fraud, right? Yeah, we all agree. Okay. But we're all going to take their money and promote them together. And I won't do it unless you do it. And if you do it, I'll do it. And we're all in. Like, there has to be like a secret meeting, a secret meeting of the YouTube Financial Advice Council for this lawsuit to be valid. It's so dumb. So dumb.
So I have a question. The attorneys that filed it, you don't think that they've thought about that? Or do you think this is kind of like a nuisance suit where they're just hoping these guys say, look, we'll give you $100,000. Each one of us will throw it in a pot. And that's it.
These lawyers are legitimate lawyers. They know exactly what they're doing. They have.
What are they
doing? There's 4 law firms, and they make their money by filing class actions. So they know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing.
Okay.
Like, I'll tell you this. When you are big on YouTube, you buy creator insurance, right?
I mean, that's what they tell me.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
When I get there, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Please get me back on your channel when you've made it. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's probably happening to me when I get the lawsuit is I'm just going to call you. We're going to talk about it over the course of.
And I'll be like, Matt, I'm a YouTuber. What do I even know? The thing is, my channel's so small, everyone is going to be like, wow, that guy must be a really good lawyer.
Yeah.
he's not making any money on YouTube. But they know what they're doing. They have a reason. And if it's that they think that each guy has $1 million liability policy, and rather than the hassle and expense of defending, they can pop $10 million out of this fund of people, set something up for their named plaintiffs, get the law firm some money, and then move on down the road. Maybe that's a strategy. If they think that they have properly alleged reliance, I don't know how they could have passed the LSAT or the bar exam, because it's not there. It's like categorically not there. You could do it. Now, I'm not saying it would be true, but you could have one guy, Edwin Garrison, sue one guy, meet Kevin, I can't say his last name, and say, I relied on your statements. Fine. That's a credible claim. But for 6 guys, I actually don't know how many plaintiffs there are, but let's see. Let's say there's 6 plaintiffs to sue these 9 creators. It doesn't work. You can't say each one of these guys relied on each one of these creators and that each creator was culpable, legally culpable. And if that's meet Kevin's take in his handheld video on Coffee's channel, I got to say, I totally agree with him. And it's not because he seems like a nice guy, although he does seem like a nice guy. I think his lawyer, I hope his lawyer has already told him, I could win this lawsuit drunk. There's no way that we can lose this, because I don't think there's any way they can possibly lose. So the allegations about each of the 9 creators are identical. It doesn't take long to read one of them. So I'm going to read one of them to you, because if you just hear it read aloud, you're like, oh, it doesn't really say much. Now, this is actually a paragraph about the plaintiffs, not about the creators, but it's the only part of the lawsuit, as I read it, that actually explains what the creators supposedly did that's wrong. You ready?
Yes.
Plaintiff Garrison purchased an unregistered security from FTX in the form of a YBA, which is a yield-bearing account, which I tend to agree with the plaintiffs that these yield-bearing accounts actually are unregistered securities. So I'll concede that. And funded the account with sufficient amount of crypto assets to earn interest on his holdings. That's fine. If you're telling me you bought a YBA and you put money in it, or, crypto money, fine. Okay, listen to this. Plaintiff Garrison did so after being exposed to some or all of the defendant's misrepresentations and omissions regarding the FTX platform as detailed in the complaint. Now, pause for a second. What's detailed in the complaint is that FTX is a scam, okay? But we all know that now. Right. Everyone knows that after November 11th or 12th or whatever. Okay. And executed trades on the platform in reliance on those misrepresentations and omissions. As a result, plaintiff Garrison has sustained damages and defendants are liable. So this is paragraph 13 in the lawsuit on page 5. If your viewers want to read it, they should. Paragraphs 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are all exactly the same, talking about other plaintiffs. Okay. Here's what's so legally indefensible about what they said. And I was trying to think about a metaphor that I thought that someone like you would appreciate. Okay.
All right.
You're at home right now recording. You're not at a studio, but let's say later today, like me, you're going to go to the gym. Okay. And on the way to the gym on the road, it's 5 miles away. Okay. From where you are right now, you're going to pass a cop who's pulled over, and the cop, instead of keeping you safe and keeping you on the road, moons you. Okay. Well, you keep driving. And then 300 yards later, another cop moons you. Okay.
Okay.
9 more cops moon you. And at that point, you wreck your car because you're distracted.
Okay.
That's what this lawsuit is. He's saying he watched all these creators, all of them. And after he had seen every little bit, then he wrecked his car. Then he bought FTX and it was a scam. Well, it's not the first creator's fault. It clearly wasn't enough to motivate him to buy the FTX product if it took him exposure to 8 more creators in order to do it. And if it was enough influence from the first person to buy the stock, then the other 8 people aren't at fault because he was already doing it. But these incredibly vague allegations are that each plaintiff, this is so insane, each plaintiff watched every single creator, and only then, and after watching all of those, bought FTX.
It's a horrible example, by the way, the mooning thing. I hear you. But
it's perfect. It's perfect for you. You would be distracted by that. You'd be like, I hate cops. What are they doing? Don't show me your butt.
Yeah, but they're not telling me to do anything.
They're distracting you from what you should be doing. What's a cop's mission? It's on the side of every patrol car.
To protect and serve.
Thank you very much. Okay. And if they're mooning you, they're not protecting or serving you, right?
Okay.
Well, these influencers' job is supposedly to financially protect and serve you, but instead they just distracted you. They showed you their butt, and you did something stupid.
Why I feel like that Colby's going to pull the butt story off, and he's going to use that as our little prologue.
Because he's a smart guy. But that is actually what this is like. This is like cops mooning people on the way to the gym. If one plaintiff sued one creator and said, you got me, I watched all 6 of your videos about FTX, and then I pulled the trigger, I would be like, well, that could be reliance. That could be reliance. But to sue multiple people by the only logical inference that a judge will ever make about this, and this will never see a jury, this will get dismissed. The only logical inference that a judge could ever make is that one creator was not enough. Two creators were not enough. Well, you have to prove 51%, right? To win your case, you've got to prove more likely than not.
Right.
If you sued 9 creators, is each one of them liable for 6% of your bad financial decision? Well, each creator has to be liable for 51%. So it's like so stupidly flawed that I can't believe it. Now, there are other problems also, okay? Which is they've sued these people in Florida because FTX is headquartered in Florida. That's fine. You know who they didn't sue? FTX. They didn't sue FTX. That's who you would sue in Florida. I don't remember where all these creators live, but I do remember that it says that Graham Stephan lives in Vegas, okay? Edwin Garrison, the named plaintiff, he lives in Oklahoma. What are we doing in Florida?
Well, the law firm doesn't want to have to go all the way to Oklahoma. We want to make these guys come to Florida.
So there is a real problem with something called personal jurisdiction over Graham Stephan in Florida, not only for the Edwin Garrison case, but for Garrison is purporting to sue on behalf of a class, a nationwide class, or maybe it's just a statewide class in Florida.
Why, you think they should have filed in federal court?
No, they did file in federal court, but like Graham Stephan hasn't been to Florida in connection with this case, or if he has, they didn't allege it. How is he personally liable in Florida? How can he answer to a Florida court for a video that he filmed in Vegas? He can't.
Yeah, but he released it globally. It's YouTube.
That's right. Well, the U.S. Supreme Court, not in a YouTube-related case, but in a case regarding a class action, has said, no, if you want to sue a defendant, you have to go to where the defendant is to get a big class, okay? And they've said that you don't have personal jurisdiction over that defendant for people who aren't in the place where you've sued. Well,
okay.
He's not there.
So if he sued him individually, he could sue him in Florida. If these guys were in Florida, the victims are in Florida and they want to sue Graham Stephan, because they're in Florida, they can sue in Florida.
Probably, but they still have an uphill battle because there's nothing in the lawsuit about Graham Stephan going to Florida, but also Garrison's not from Florida, the lead plaintiff. So they found a statute that's in a state where FTX is, but the whole lawsuit is premised on these promoters being something called an agent for FTX. So I've got personal jurisdiction problems. I've got problems with the definition of the statute, and I've got pleading problems that they don't allege that each defendant is legally culpable on his or her own. Without that, they're just not going to win. It's ridiculous.
Just a bad lawsuit.
They cut their own legs out because the whole thrust of the lawsuit for literally dozens of paragraphs is about what a scam FTX is and how the world found out it was a scam. Well,
yeah, but these guys found out at the same time.
Yes, I agree. So, like, it doesn't actually help them to say that FTX was a scam. Now, they have this very narrow thing that they're saying that FTX sold yield-bearing accounts, and that's an unregistered security, and that's illegal. That's fine. The fact that I agree with the plaintiffs, that was illegal. Go sue FTX. These people aren't agents. They're spokespeople. It's so silly. They should sue NBC because Tom Brady's ads for FTX ran on NBC.
So why would the lawsuit file this then? Why would the law firm file this? What did I just say? Why would the law firm file this? Did I say the right thing?
Yeah. Who cares? Everyone knows what you meant.
Okay.
Do you not have an editor? No one cares what you say.
And I'm likable. So
yes, that's right. So I don't want to impute bad motives to any lawyer. They don't see this the way that I do. But guess what? I don't make money whether this lawsuit wins or loses. I'm just going to call it like I see it. This is hot garbage. If this lawsuit survives the motion to dismiss, and like, I don't defend companies. I represent individual humans. Okay, that's all I do is I just stand up for the little guy. If somehow I got raked into this and I was defending these lawyers, I would be so excited to get the watch history off of YouTube for each of these 6 plaintiffs, because they're saying in a pleading that they're swearing is true by virtue of the fact that their lawyer is signing it. They're saying in a pleading that they watched Meet Kevin's videos and that they watched these other guys' videos. Now, the defendant's lawyers, the creator's lawyers, are going to be able to put together a timeline of every FTX sponsored video that each of these 9 creators posted, and the watch histories of each of these 6 plaintiffs, if there are 6, it doesn't matter. And we're going to be able to see when, relative to that stream of information, these guys bought into FTX. And I'm telling you, I would be shocked if there was any sort of factual, grounded in reality nexus between each plaintiff and all 9 creators. You know what's way more likely? What's way more likely is that these guys bought into FTX months and months and months before the creators said anything.
And now they have somebody to blame it on.
That is right. And I'm telling you, I would be worried if I were these plaintiffs that I'm going to be confronted in a deposition with my actual watch history, because they will have to give it over.
Right.
And my FTX transaction history, because, oh man, I better not have bought some FTX prior to having viewed these videos. So I didn't get a chance to talk about paragraph 147 in my conversation with Matt Cox, and I want to read some of that paragraph to you right now. This is straight from the lawsuit, okay? Influencer marketing thus involves collaborating with a social media influencer to increase brand visibility and strengthen a brand's reputation. When executed correctly, it helps win more customers from target audiences and earn more revenue. Okay, so far, good. What differentiates influencer marketing from other types of celebrity marketing is that it is perceived as more authentic and trustworthy because, owing to an influencer's rapport with their fans, their recommendations aren't dismissed as fake and sponsored endorsements. What? Is this for real? Am I actually hearing an adult who also has a law license say that there are people who watch YouTube influencers and don't know that the sponsorships that they have on their channel are paid sponsorships? Is this what I'm hearing? Because that is what the lawsuit says, that these people are perceived as more authentic.
No, they are not. That is complete hogwash.
There is no one dumb enough who watches YouTube who doesn't know that the influencer is getting paid to say you should buy this or you should do this. And that person is also smart enough to have $10,000 to invest in FTX. Because no, they 100% know that the influencers were getting paid to do it. It's just regular marketing. The fact that it's like more persuasive means that it's meeting people where they're at, like mentally right now, because they don't want to be told by a big company what to do. They want to be told by someone that they trust what to do. But no one's telling them to trust them. That's the own voice inside their head telling them, oh, this is a trustworthy person. Well, they're not. They're just a YouTuber just like me. Except I'm a lawyer and you can trust me. Well, so that's an overview of the problems with the lawsuit that was filed against the YouTubers. Now, I cannot wait to see how far this lawsuit makes it in the legal process or doesn't make it. But put your guesses down below in the comments, along with your pro se opinion. How do you feel about these plaintiffs' attempts to hold influencers responsible for their promotion of FTX? Are they really at fault for the lost money? I want to know what you think. Also, big shout out to Matt Cox for having me on his channel. Make sure you check out his videos at Inside True Crime for some actually great true crime content. The guy, he knows stuff, okay? If you liked my collab with Matt, make sure you check out our last video on the Queen of Crypto or any other video with him, but don't do it until after you smash the subscribe button. Lawyer up and stay on this channel forever. I'll see you soon. Bye.